Hi everyone. Today is Tuesday the 30th of June and I can't forget because it's mine and Abby's 3-year anniversary. So, my name's Elly and this is the Curio Yarns podcast. I need to be looking there, sorry. Okay, so as you know from the last episode, I have broken up the podcast so that some of it will be knitting and some of it will be sewing stuff. Today's sewing. So Tuesdays are now sewing days and Thursdays are now knitting days. What I thought I'd start with today is giving you a kind of tour of my fabric stash, where I keep my notions, my sewing machines, the sort of patterns that I like, planning, etc. And how I go about my process. So I will start with showing you my machines. I have got a Brother sewing machine and a Singer Serger machine. So let's take a look. Okay, so this is my Brother sewing machine. It's an electric one. I've left it on the setting I last had it on. I got this in, I think it was just Argos, about 18 months ago, because my last one needed a service and the service ended up being more expensive than what it needed, so that one kind of got retired. So this one's an electric one. It's the FS40 and it's got lots of different stitch patterns, but I don't really use any of them. I tend to use 1 to 5 and then the buttonholes along here. Now of these I think I use 24 and 25 and 26, because a lot of the fancy stitches and things I haven't used yet, just because A, I haven't tested them out, and B, I don't really use them on anything. I don't make anything that requires them. I don't do machine embroidery or anything else. It's a good little machine. It works very well. It's a top loading bobbin and yeah, it's great. This is the setting that I have to have it on. Obviously every machine's different, and then my overlocker I haven't used in ages. I've literally pulled it out onto my desk and snapped all the threads as I was doing so. It's been at least, I'd say, 6 months since I've used this. So I'm going to give that a nice clean up and service later because I've got lots of sewing I need to be doing. Excuse that stuff over there. That's podcast prizes and things on my printer. So yeah, my serger is a 4 spool serger. You can see here in the background there's 1, 2, 3, 4 spools. And I got that one a few years ago when Lidl's had them for £120, I think it was, or £100. So it's an absolute bargain and it works very well. So yes, I will turn you around and show you where everything is. Okay, so this is where I store all my zips, like this. I don't know how everyone else stores their zips. This is the label that came with my Hohi & Co t-shirt. These go from a 24-inch to a 6-inch zip, and some are 7 inches in here. And I find it really useful to put them up in sets of 5, so that I know how many I've got. And I just put them on these little fabric pegs and pin them onto my board with blocking pins. I tend to get most of my zips from Jaycotts, and I'll put a link down below for their website. They're a very good pattern company, but they also do notions and things. Their invisible zips are the best that I've found. And they come in loads of different colours, but I've just got the colours that I tend to sew with most. Now, admittedly, my wardrobe has changed, but also a lot of these are for the project bags that I make for the shop. So you can see there are different sizes because of the different widths of the bags, etc. Okay, so moving across to the fabrics. This is my fabric stash here. I have got, this is my stretchy velvety fabrics. I've done a top in this one already, but I'll be altering that because I just don't wear it. It's basically sheer fabric with velvet on, and I got that at a craft show a few years ago, as well as this one, this beautiful purple crushed velvet. It's all stretch, and this plain black one as well. Now here, this is a miss-buy. I thought this fabric was cotton. It's not. It's really heavyweight stretch jersey, knit jersey, and it's I think it's 60 inches wide. It's very pretty, but I don't quite know what to do with it. I might make a couple of tops, but apart from that, I have no idea. So the rest of the fabric up here, this I've had for many years, and it's reversible. So one side is this purple with black barbed wire, and the other side is, you know, black with purple barbed wire. This is some organic cotton jersey that I got from France. This is just quilting cotton, but it's the same as the pink dress that you saw me make last year. This is some moon fabric. Where did I get you from? Bobby Lou's, which I have the card for around somewhere. And then this fabric I've had for years. I bought it thinking it was charcoal, and it wasn't. It's taupe. So although I bought enough to make a dress, I'm not confident enough to wear it as a dress. I'm thinking maybe trousers or something. If you've got a suggestion for this fabric and a pattern, let me know. I've got some lining fabrics from when I used to wear a lot of black and purple clothes. So this pile here is mostly things that I have either been given or I've bought deliberately for Neve. So we've got fox fabrics and cat fabrics, and that particular piece there is from my friend Kazzy, or Kazzy No No. And then there's fairies and all sorts in here, and then there's some bird fabric and wintry fabric. That's one that I bought and made a dress out of for Christmas. That is a remnant of the blouse I've been making, which I put up little bits on Instagram about. That will be coming in next week's episode because it's finished. It's behind me. It's down there on the door. Very, very nice fabric. The company is on there. It's from Clothworks, Organic Elements for Clothworks, and it's Woodland Gathering by for Clothworks. And I know one of you was asking about that fabric, so there you go. And then I sort of keep all my remnants. So that blood splatter was for a dress for Kira. That's a dress I'm currently making for Neve. That was pyjamas. That was a gift from someone. Can't remember your name, sorry. And again, more from Kazzy. And then my last pile of fabrics are here. Now these are all fabrics that I got in the sale from Minerva Crafts. This one, this empty bag, is for this fabric here because I washed it so it'll be ready to use. It's some spotted georgette. And then this one, I wasn't convinced was me at all, so I decided to just put it on the side. But I'm going to make a top out of that. This is the fabric that I have left from my trousers that I've cut. And then I've got lots here that I got in the sale. So there's more suede pieces like this one, which I've been using to make lunar lapin rabbits. It's fake suede. It's really soft and cuddly. So I've got that in grey and purple. And then I've got a few other fabrics there to use. So if I move you over here, my llama collection. They used to sell these in my local shop where I worked, and I had to collect them. So I've got a duplicate of that one back there. And Abby bought me this one. So this is primarily knitting, sewing books. This one was my mum's, but I don't know if it was her mum's or if it was just my mum's, I can't remember. And then these two I bought, and then these ones I've all bought as well. I used to really be into the Gertie sews. I used to like 40s and 50s shapes. And back when I was curvier, it suited me really well. Not so much now. And then, of course, the Great British Sewing Bee. And So Many Dresses, So Little Time. That's quite good. The Dressmaker's Technique Bible. That's okay. If you want to look for something specific that's relatively common. And then this is where I keep my knitting magazines. Not knitting magazines, sorry, sewing magazines. Some of them are just directories, some of them are publications. And then at the bottom here, I've got 2 rows of patterns, including these are PDF patterns that I've printed out and cut out. And the front row is what I plan to make for definite. And then there are a couple of magazines here that came with patterns. And then behind those, if I can get in and show you, I've got another row of patterns back there. So yes. Okay, so the bottom shelving unit. This is all my scrap fabrics that I am either going to be using for masks or project bags or English paper piecing. And then it's got a couple of other patterns in there. These are fabrics that are specifically for project bags. So we've got heavier weight fabrics. We've got linen and canvas for the bases or linings, and then I've got some fabric there. I've got another stash of fabric for bags, and that is knitting related scraps. This is my English paper piecing box that I keep everything in, and I just use overlocking thread on that. That's knitting related. In here I've got buttons, bobbins, piece of lace that I like to sew on items, and this pink box here, that is an old shoe box from Ivis that's full of threads. And then at the very bottom down here, these are my bags that I have cut out ready to be sewed. So the pattern's been cut around and they've been cut out, and then some of them are part finished. So that one and this one are part finished. They just need the tops putting on and the toggles or zips or whatever. And then here is a birthday present that I got from Abby. It was the one that came late. There we go. It's a bead embroidery kit. So it's a bit like paint by numbers or diamond painting, but done with beads on a canvas. And then in this one here, I've got my fabric pegs, inspiration photos for yarns and things, and then lots of ribbons and pedals and things. And then finally, I've got all my cross-stitch kit, all my cross-stitching equipment. This Rogue Morph box here is full of embroidery threads. And then I've got my Ada fabrics, hoops. I had to buy more hoops because I'd run out. And lots of patterns and things. So yeah, that is my sewing side of the room. So that was the tour of my sewing side of my office room, or craft room. I can now sit down. I need a sip of tea. I've got a very weak tea because I've run out of soy milk. You saw over my shoulder the pink blouse is finished. It just needs a press. I accidentally, when I was splitting the buttonholes with my seam ripper, I didn't realise, but one of the buttonholes at the top hadn't got the bars going across to stop you sort of continuing going up through, and it just went rip. So it ripped from one buttonhole to the other, so I had to do very fine sewing, like on the paper piecing, to fix that. It looks okay. From a distance you can't see it, up close you can definitely see it. But anyway, so on my desk at the moment, next to the sewing machines, etc., I have my sewing planner. Now this is just for sewing projects. This has nothing to do with knitting or design work or anything else. This is purely a what I'm sewing, the fabrics that I'm using, swatches, etc. Now, I started this last week because Abby bought this for me as a gift when she had to go and get some things because she's redecorating her shop. So she saw this and she couldn't resist. She put me this and some post-its. But all the pages, the main pages were in, so the dividers and things were in upside down. And it was done from, going from, so that's the back and that's the front. But it went backwards in days, in months. So it went December, November, October, September, August, etc. Now, I didn't like the idea of having to start at the back and working my way forwards. I know that's common in, a lot of the places of the world, like in like Saudi Arabia and things like that. And is it Japan and things, they like to work backwards? I'm not entirely sure. So basically, what I have done is all the tabs, I have put washi tape on and simply renamed them each month. And then I've put some washi tape over where it had the month of the year. So I've got my month to view, and then I've got my weeks. It's a normal diary, I suppose you'd call it. So what I'm doing is writing in each day. I'm not showing you what I've been doing so far. I'll show you another time. I write down what I've done that day on a particular project and which projects I've worked on and what I need to prep, etc. And then little swatches and I'll take a picture of this and print out a little sort of large postage size stamp and pop that in when I finish the dress next to a photo of it finished, or top or whatever, so that I can see what, for example, this dress would look like on me, so that when I see another photo in the, another pattern in the future and it's similar, I can go, okay, so that would look like that on my body shape, sort of thing. Now, I know from experience this one won't suit me. It's just too boxy and flat. I don't have the cleavage to get away with such a deep low neckline, and it's just too straight. Yes, it's got busty bits and I like wearing straight items, but for the style that this is meant to be, it wouldn't look right on me, for example. So this is my visual guide to what I'm making, what I look like in things, and etc. So I quite like that. My current projects I've got on the go, I've just finished my pink shirt, I've got some trousers, I've got the dress, I've got Neva dress, and I've got 3 of the Luna Lapin. One's for me, and then there's 1 each for each niece. One isn't born yet. We're still overdue. But yes. Now for pins, I mostly use just this. Now, my mum had one of these and it was exactly the same. Now, this is an old Boots Mint Humbug tin, and it's just full of dressmaking pins, and there's a couple of snaps, so press snaps. So yeah, so this is where my backup ones are. I have 2 other pin cushions, which I'll just stand up and get. It's got a bow leg. So this one, this is my turtle, and I bought this one specifically to keep in my hand sewing needles. And then it's got a spare, an emergency spare sewing machine needle. So if mine breaks, I can literally just grab it instead of having to faff around and find something if I'm in the middle of a seam or whatever. So that's there ready just in case. So I've got wider ones for embroidery and cross stitch. I've got a couple of beading needles, and I've got some hand sewing needles. And then on my mouse, I've got two sorts of needles. I've got general dressmaking needles. I've got one sewing needle because I needed to mend the rip. And then on the bottom, I've got my pearl head ones. I've actually got 3 types. And these are glass head pins. So if I need to press a seam and I need to have a needle in it or a pin in it, I'll use a glass head one because the plastic pearl ones melt. And I learnt that the hard way. So I've got these specifically if I need to iron a seam. I'll do it on a low heat with a bit of steam, but these are actually quite heat resistant. I got them on, I think I just got them on eBay about 7-8 years ago, and they work a treat. Now, this mouse has its own story. This is the oldest thing I own that didn't come from my immediate family. Now, when I was 6, my Granny Rosie came into my life. She's not my real gran. My gran died when I was 6, and she was Mum's friend in the village. And I remember sitting in her car, in my mum's car, outside her house with my twin brother, and she looked out and said, "Hello, sweetheart." And I said, "Hello." And she came over to the car with my mum and said, "Would you like me to be your granny?" To which I said, "Yes, please." And she has been the most wonderful woman I have ever met my whole life. She is the lady that taught me how to embroider. She's the lady that taught me to darn holes. Yes, my mum knitted, but it's because of my Granny Rosie that I fully got into handcrafts. And so she gave me this when I was nearly 7 to put my first needle in. And yes, so this is it. This is very old. It is now 32 years old. And it's very special to me. So yes, that is a bit of my little life history for you. So I have got nothing else that's not actual sewing to talk about today. It was more this is my creative space, and I will be doing the same for knitting stuff. I'll do a mini video about that, and shop stuff, because that's different areas of the room. Oh, and spinning stuff, because that also has a different area. So I'm going to love you and leave you. It also means I get another week to get some more sewing done, so I can show you more than one thing. And I will see you all on Thursday with some knitting content. Big hugs to you all. Bye for now.